Thursday, March 6th, 2025. Um, and I don't know. Whoopi kind of stepped in it for me today on The View. Um, the first topic was that whole Trump thanking the Supreme Court on his way out of his joint address to Congress, um, and what that means. And then the thing we brought up yesterday about the Supreme Court actually making a decision against him, including John Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett. Um, the, and the thing about that ruling that is upsetting to me is that four justices said, sure, executive branch can just do whatever it wants, cancel funding, end a program that's been appropriated by congressional uh, votes. I don't like Alito and Samuel aren't even Samuel. Is that his name? Is that his name? Alito and what's I'm totally blanking on that guy's name. Um, oh God, the really corrupt black one. Oh, anyway, you know who I'm talking about. Like they're just not even hiding the fact that they're trying to make a king, which is really really gross. And the point that Whoopi was, I mean not Whoopi, but that Sonny was trying to make was that they agreed with the lower court that yes, you have to no, you can't just cancel the funding, but then kicked it back to the lower court to say, well, you have to decide what the government is supposed to do, which is really shitty because the Supreme Court has the ability to say no, you can't uh, just end that funding and you have to reinstate it. They could have said that, but they kicked it back to the court to be like, you need to be clear. And what that's going to do is that the lower court will be like, well, you have to reinstate the funding. So then Trump's team will then challenge that and it'll go back to the Supreme Court. It just delays the whole funding process if it's ever going to happen. And it gives the Supreme Court a second chance to be like, well, no, you can't do it, but we're not going to make you make restitution. So that's really shitty. Um, but and that's I think what she was trying to say, but Whoopi kept kind of cutting her short on that to be like, we're just going to put our ducks in a row. Well, it's not really putting our ducks in a row. It's giving us another chance to agree with Trump's, you know, ruling by edict rather than following the Constitution and congressional law. I don't get it. Excuse me. Um, and I don't even remember what the second topic was. I just know that Whoopi, and maybe this was the same topic, maybe it was the first topic. I don't remember, but she was talking about maybe things like getting rid of the Department of Education and these things will actually help because it'll make people more accountable for their own well-being and their own children's education. That you got to do for you. And fuck you. I don't want a society of I'll get mine, you go figure out how to get yours. I want a society where we're taking care of people, making sure that everyone gets a proper education, making sure everyone has, access to healthcare, the ability to stay healthy, that their drinking water isn't poisoned, that their food is okay. Like, I want a society that actually has rules, that cares about its citizenry, that wants to make sure that everyone has opportunity. I don't want a society that says, you go fend for yourself. Because, Whoopi, you've already got yours. So, but not everybody does. And a lot of people don't have the ability. And they're too busy working 107 jobs trying to afford the life that they have. That was, I just thought, so fucking tone deaf, and oddly lacking in empathy and just a weird switch in terms of politics from what I usually see from her. And maybe she got a talking to about you got to be, less critical of Trump because God knows our fucking media is not doing us any favors. But that's shitty. It's just a shitty take. I hate it. Um, and then then they had a conversation about this trio of women on the White Lotus, and I have to say, so far it's my favorite storyline because these women clearly don't like each other, um, and it's like backhanded compliments and you know, sort of unintended insults that are just sort of casually being dropped here and there. That it's hilarious, and they keep teaming up like in separate pairs against the other one. Um, which is a true thing that happens in relationships because I think it's funny. But the conversation was, "Oh my God, did you vote for Trump?" And she's just like, do we really have to talk about Trump?" And it has sort of sparked a conversation among people, and it did at the View table today about whether or not you can be friends with a Trump voter or whatever. And of course, Amy Alyssa Farrell Griffin is like, "We have a Trump voter, and we have my best friend's a Democrat, and then we get all on fine," because you think of politics as a game. And poor, naive little Sarah Haynes, she talks about her conservative upbringing. She talks about what things were like when she was a kid, and growing up in, middle America, and that it was just common to have different political beliefs. I grew up in middle America with conservative parents. They would never be Trumpers, but at the time they were conservatives. They applied for the U.S. citizenship after living in this country for 18 years because I voted for a Democrat in the first presidential primary that I was allowed to, and they were like, "Oh." Um, and I've only gotten more liberal as I've gotten older. So, I don't think you can blame it on where you came from. Um, and she has these platitudes, and it's like she's kind of like the poster child for "Make America Great Again" because she just has this idea that everything is like as earnest as it was back in Iowa when she was a kid. Which she probably doesn't realize is that when she was a kid, those people weren't all that earnest. They were misogynist, racist pieces of shit, and she just didn't realize it because she wasn't paying attention because she was a kid. Um, so like, grow the fuck up and open your eyes. That's not where we are anymore. You don't have a Republican Party that is just, you know, fiscally conservative. They sure do want to shrink government, but not in a way that actually makes it more productive. They just want to tear it down so that they can privatize everything and make money for themselves. Um, so you really can't equate what's going on in politics right now to any other time. And Whoopi said at one point, the racists have always been there and the misogynists have always been there. Yes, yes, we know. But at this moment in time, we have the most openly cruel people cheering the destruction of other people's lives after we've gone through a period of trying to make some equality happen. We didn't get there by a long shot, but we were at least making steps. And now they want to roll all that back. That is different. It's upsetting. And I really didn't appreciate that, Joy was a lot. Sunny gave, I like when she gets all legally nerdy, and, gives all the details of this is what should happen, this is what this means. That's very helpful information. Joy is kind of like, fuck it. And the other two, are just kind of Trump apologists that are just trying to find the good things. Why did Amy Alyssa Farrell Griffin go on and on about Amy Comey Barrett's, um, you know, qualifications for being in the Supreme Court? She's never actually had trial experience before. She wasn't the most qualified candidate to get there. But these idiots calling it DEI, it's only because she's a woman. It's just misogyny. They're just going to say it about anybody who isn't a straight white guy. And they're going to be mad at anything that isn't, bowing at the feet of King Trump. So I don't know why we even have to talk about it. Their reaction doesn't mean anything. They're the dum-dums that are falling for fascism. And it doesn't mean Amy Coney Barrett is a hero either for simply doing her job, which is upholding the Constitution. Thomas, Clarence Thomas. Ha! Ha 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 ha! He and Alito are the ones that are just fucking everything up and not even bothering to hide it. Ugh. Well, anyway. Did I say it was Thursday? Is the week fucking over yet?